you own it. Let every mile bring a smile, yeah.
Welcome back to the Road to Life podcast with Meredith and Craig. Got another cool episode for you this week.
I love this topic. This is a great episode. I think what we're going to talk about today is the most underrated relationship skill there is. Like last week, we talked about apologizing. It's obviously an important one. Mm-hmm. This one, I think, is super duper underrated.
And we talk about vulnerability all the time, which is a super important one. Not as underrated, though. I think you're right. This is an underrated skill. We've got some funny stories about this one. I don't know if we've told them on the podcast. Maybe we have in different contexts, but I think we'll definitely dive into a couple of those. And well, let's stop teasing it, McKay. Like, what are we like? I'm genuinely curious. What are we talking about today?
Oh, nice segue. We are talking curiosity this week.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Simple and effective, but not overly used.
Yeah. And why is it so important? Because it actually is the antidote.
Nice work. Nice work. I don't know if anyone was around a few months ago when he discovered the difference between antidote and anecdote.
No, this quick side note on antidote versus anecdote. Our first episode of this very podcast was the antidote to fear.
Correct.
And we
Episode 1.
talked about the antidote to fear, and I use antidote and anecdote interchangeably. Go back and listen. Episode 1, I used it interchangeably. I had no idea those were two different words. Somebody did, though. Somebody did know that there was a difference, but decided not to tell me and decided to let me carry on understanding that antidote and anecdote, literally the same word, carry on. You can continue to believe that for the next 2 years. She didn't let me in on that joke. And then finally was like, okay, dude, I'm been tired of waiting for you to figure this out. Antidote and anecdote, 2 words, bro. Learn them. Because I'm sick and tired of hearing you use them interchangeably. They're 2 different words.
Do you remember which episode that was?
Episode 1.
No, the one where where I pointed it out to you on the episode. No?
Yeah, and then didn't pull me aside and casually be like, hey, bro, anecdote, 2 different words. I need you to kind of like just switch it up. Calls me out in front of the 12 people that listen.
Can confirm.
What I don't know.
I don't remember what episode.
I don't know the episode.
Go back and listen to the last 20.
Go listen to them all and you'll find it.
All that to say.
That was a side quest. Now back to the main event. Curiosity.
It is the antidote.
Antidote to judgment.
And assumptions.
Which are less than ideal for a relationship.
They're like kryptonite for your relationship.
They're not great.
When you start making assumptions and judgments, that's when disconnection starts to breed, a little resentment starts to breed, because I'm making an assumption that like you did that on purpose.
Yeah, or like your spouse comes home after a really tough day at work. Maybe their boss was tough to deal with that day and they're just not in a mood. They're in a bad mood. And
they're snippy with you.
Yeah, and then you just kind of assume that they're mad at you for something that you did. And then you escalate and you're trying to out-emotion each other and then you're in a full-blown, fight that you just didn't plan for. And instead, you could just say, hey, I noticed that you seem to be a little off. Is everything okay? Is there anything I can help you with? Curiosity. Lead with curiosity. And then, it just...
De-escalates?
Yeah, not de-escalates.
Lowers the volume?
Yeah, lowers the volume's great.
Turns
de-escalates. If you had a bomb and you... Well,
detonate? With the opposite of detonate?
Yes.
I don't know. You know what I mean, right, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
De-escalates? Maybe. Just let's go with de-escalates.
Okay.
That'll work.
You know what the bomb squad does to bombs?
Yeah.
De-escalates them.
It de-escalates the bomb.
I know we've shared this story on a podcast episode before, but it beautifully illustrated when we went for the walk in the park and you asked me how my girls' night went.
It was anything but a walk in the park that day. That conversation.
And you said, how was your girls' night? What'd you do? Just chit-chat? And I assumed...
Man, oh man. The energy with you changed in an instant. I remember it. We were walking. It was like, whoa, okay, cool. So what's with the 2, girl?
I made the assumption that you were being dismissive of whatever I do with the girls when we hang out.
Yeah, well, I didn't know in the moment that's what it was, but it was very clear that you did not appreciate something about it.
And so I did not lead with curiosity and say, what do you mean by that? Help me understand that. I just instantly annoyed,
back immediately up.
made an assumption, you're being a dick, and I'm annoyed at you.
Yeah.
And then you felt the energy shift,
Yeah.
and you did lead with curiosity.
Yeah. So obviously the energy has shifted here. What's your deal? What is happening right now? And then you just let me
Explained
know.
it.
Yeah. And I was like, cool. Like, I get it. I understand. You think I'm belittling. But, like, when you come back from every girls' trip and I ask you what you get up to, what literally do you say that comes out of your lips?
We just chit-chatted. Literally the exact same words I use, but I hear them differently when you use them.
When I use them, yeah.
So that could have escalated if we both didn't lead with curiosity. Thankfully, one of us led with curiosity and de-escalated that bomb.
Yeah. When you find a bomb...
Defuse!
Thank you! Thank you! Yes! Defuse! Teamwork.
Got it.
Defuse the bomb. De-escalated the bomb. Defuse the bomb. You got it.
All right, so if curiosity is the antidote to judgment and fear, which I think we've just illustrated that beautifully, it diffuses the situation.
Yeah.
What else does it do? What's the positive impact of me leading with curiosity? We've diffused the negative. What does leading with curiosity...
It just lets the other person know that you're a safe space, that you care about them. You're just looking to understand them and see them and hear them and value them and respect them. Like, it's you trying to understand and get into their world a little bit. So it creates this, like, almost this sense of understanding and empathy, if you will.
And like when you, because you're really good at asking questions, like leading with curiosity always, whenever we're doing something, whenever we've done something, what was your favorite part of that? What part would you want to do again? Like the other, like, well, I don't even know what day it was, like 3 days ago, just a random like Wednesday. You're like, what was your favorite part of the day today? I was like, oh, it was actually when we played soccer with the kids. But it's like, you always ask it on vacation, but it wasn't like a special time. It was just a random day. You're like, what was your favorite part of the day today?
I think we had a busy day. There was a lot going on. We had a lot of family time. It was just a day where it felt like there was some cool stuff going on, and I was just curious what your favorite part of the day was, because there was lots of things that you could have chosen, but it's always nice to know, of all the cool things, what was the coolest?
Right. And when you ask me that question, because it's more specific, it's not, how was your day? Because how was your day gets you fine, or like a giant 4-page book report on how the day was. Either way, not helpful. When you ask something like you do that's super specific, what was your favorite part of the day today? Then I have to stop and think, like, what was my favorite part of the day today? And because I've had to stop and think, it makes me feel like you actually care about the answer. When I'm just giving you a fine, like, how was your day? It was fine. I think you're just asking out of habit, or you're not asking because you're genuinely curious, you're asking just because.
Especially if I ask you that question, how was your day? You answer fine. I'm like, cool, and I carry on with my day.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like, okay, he doesn't actually care.
I made the assumption you didn't care, and you proved that maybe that was true.
Yeah, I satisfied you with fine. Okay, you didn't care.
Yeah. Whereas when you ask something specific, I don't believe you're going to be satisfied with fine. I have to go
Well, you can't answer with fine.
Right. I have to go a layer deeper in my brain and come up with what was my favorite part. I have to think about it. And because you've made me think about it, I think you actually care about the answer, and you actually kind of want to be a part of my day. By asking me what the best part of it was, you want to be engaged in my day with me.
It also shows the other person on another level that by asking a question like, what was the best part of your day? Now I know, of all the cool things we did, these are the coolest. That these are the things that you really liked. And now I am armed with information that I can use to make your day cool down the line. Like, we can, remember that time when we did that thing that you really loved? Let's go do that again.
Like the world's second largest rocking chair.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing. If you're in Missouri, you have to go check it out. It's worth the stop.
Better than the world's largest. Trust us. But I think it's cool. It's like what you're saying is actually that, like, you ask a question because you want to learn more about me. And one of the biggest things that I think that happens over time in a relationship is we assume we know everything about the person. And we get super complacent and just make the assumption of everything, however they're going to react and be in life.
Yeah, I still remember when we've been coaching other couples, and some that have been together a very long time. They'll say, like, I already know everything about this person. But then they're in this place where they're super disconnected and they don't know how to talk to each other anymore. And it's like, but you don't know absolutely everything. And you're evolving every day. Like that you're experiencing the world every day. So there's something new literally every single day that you can ask about and learn about from this person. Like, sure, you've been together 30 years and you know a lot, but literally they had an experience today. And you don't know unless you ask how they experienced it.
What they took from it, what they learned from it, what they enjoyed about it, what they hated about it, what they're afraid of. Yeah.
What their biggest fear was about it. Or did it create a fear going forward? Like maybe it was a rough day and there's something now that they're taking, looking into the future that they're afraid of. Is there something there that you can now help them, support them through?
Yeah.
And so it's really important to understand that even though you've been with someone for 30, 40 years or whatever it's been, they are still experiencing life every single day. And if you're not staying on top and staying curious and asking questions, then you're growing further apart.
Boom.
Boom. Goes the dynamite.
Right? So I think not only do you diffuse major bombs from going off in your relationship, but like it builds such connection in your relationship. And that's the one thing we hear more than anything else is we feel disconnected. And it's because they're not doing these little teeny tiny things like asking questions that they're genuinely curious about. And the trick is asking a specific question. That's the first half of the trick. The second half of the trick is listening to the answer. Like acting like you actually care about what they say.
So you cannot just ask the question and then they go on and they answer it and then you just completely
your phone.
You completely tune it out. You invalidate everything. So you definitely have to follow up. The first part, critical. Ask the question, be curious, lead with curiosity. Second part, listen to the answer. And it's really helpful that when you do, and to show that you've been listening, you like use active listening, like, oh, that's cool. Oh,
you listen to understand, not respond.
And then maybe ask a follow-up question.
Yeah, follow-up questions are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it shows that you're listening.
And when you do that, like when you ask me what was your favorite part of the day, and I think about it, and then I give you an answer, and you listen, and you're engaged with me, like looking at me like you actually care, then I feel heard. I feel seen. I feel like I'm important to you in that moment. And that's all any of us ever want.
Yeah.
We all want to feel important to someone. We all want to feel seen and heard.
Literally, if you want to change any relationship in your life, make the other person feel important, feel seen, feel heard, feel valued. And you do that by asking questions, being curious, and listening to the answer and asking follow-up questions. It's literally that simple.
Yeah.
Like we make relationships this big thing. It's scary and they're so complicated and it's hard to... No, everyone wants to feel seen, heard, and understood. If you want a great relationship, make someone feel seen, heard, and understood. Ask them questions and follow up. It's literally that simple.
And if you do that proactively every day, it will because you can only control one person in a relationship. You can only control you, what you do and how you respond. But if you start doing that, everything will change. And I think the most critical, it's important to do it all the time. Like have a regular, like we like to do the daily check-in question in the evening as we're getting ready for bed and like, you know, the lights are off and you're kind of tired and it feels like it's safer to be vulnerable. I don't know. There's something about the nighttime that just like makes it easier to open up. So having a daily, like regularly scheduled time to do that is super helpful to get all those beautiful benefits. But diffusing the bomb especially, it's really helpful to do this when you're feeling like you're in a conflict. When you've got a difference of opinion on something, leading with curiosity then and asking questions, not assuming you know where they're coming from, not assuming you understand why they're coming from there, but actually asking questions in the conflict and then listening to understand, not respond, so you actually can understand where that person is coming from will give you the seed of agreement you need to actually resolve a conflict. So 100%. It's important all the time, but it's like uber duper important in
Uber duper
important in a conflict. When a conflict is bubbling.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. I think we've given them some great gold nuggets here to...
Yeah. Curiosity. The underrated superpower that you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
Practice it. You get better with practice.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say before we go is like, I think we've made a really strong case and it is obviously curiosity is a superpower in your relationship. I'm not going to go into the science, but there is science behind this too. And... you know, if you're into science, if you're nerdy like McKay or a little bit like me and you want to know the science of it, just Google it. But it does send happy chemicals to your brain when you feel seen, but also when you learn something new about your partner.
Yeah, like dopamine. It lights up the dopamine in your brain.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Gottmans, they are always talking about, you know, couples who lead with curiosity, who ask the questions, they report having the most satisfying relationships. So it is backed by research. I didn't want to get into all the nerdy stuff side of it, but it is out there, and just trust us that it's out there, or just go look. If you're anything like our friend Dale, you'll go fact check it and go check it out. But, there is science behind this as well. It's not just us,
Talking from personal experience, like an anecdote.
Like an anecdote. So make sure that you go and deactivate the bomb.
Defuse.
No, the other word.
De-escalate.
Go ahead, go de-escalate your bombs. Go get curious. Love you more.
Share this episode with your spouse, with your friends, with your family, with anyone who needs a little bit of relationship help, which is literally all of us. We're all in some relationship with ourselves, but with everybody else. So leading with curiosity is this underrated superpower. So share this episode. And what is the one thing you're going to take away from this episode? Because we had fun chit-chatting with you. But
Chit-chatting.
We had fun chit-chatting with you. But it's only going to work. You're only going to change things if you take action from it. So what is one thing you're going to do coming out of this episode to practice curiosity in one of your relationships? With that, love you more.
Bye.
See you later. Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you about something really special we've created, the Infinite Relationship Mastermind. It's like a VIP backstage pass for anyone looking to level up any and all of the relationships in their life. And we're not just talking about the relationship with your spouse, though it does include that one. We're also talking about the relationships with yourself, your friends, your business partners, your family, all the important people in your life. This mastermind is for anyone ready to take all of their relationships to a whole new level. Whether you're thriving and you want to thrive even more, or you're feeling a little stuck and need some extra love and support.
We host exclusive live courses. We create a safe, no judgment space where members can just open up and honestly just have a ton of fun connecting with other amazing people who are building stronger relationships. And to be honest, the transformations we've seen are incredible, and it's exactly why we do what we do. It fills our heart like nothing else. Now, we are super protective of this community because it is all about trust, love, and support. So it's not for everybody. But if this does sound like it might tickle your fancy, then check out the link in the show notes and reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd love to chat and see if it's a fit for you. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of our journey on the road of life. And remember, you've got this, and we're here to help you every step of the way. So we'll see you next week.
Bye for now.
Road of life, yes, you are.